The sea of suffering is not without its tides of joy. And so I guess I was wading into those waters. So this is Saturday morning at Newport Beach with our lovely view of the garbage can. Clara is in here with me. Wave, Clara. Say hi. Hi. Aaron and Anna walked down here to try to get a beach wheelchair. You got it! Good job! Is that comfy, Seth? All right. So during this time, these ideas of the coexistence of suffering and joy and the seeds of this story were being planted. I started to take out my camera and film little snippets of this and that because I knew someday I'd want to tell the story. And that's where I first started to see and know this suffering and this beauty, this joy and this sorrow, all mixed up. How you doing, Clara? Are you having fun even?
So,
You having a little fun? It's just hard.
yeah, I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go. Okay. Hi, here I am at the beach and we are enjoying our morning, or trying to. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard when you make a big effort to come somewhere like this and then she's not really enjoying it. She doesn't really like the chair and she can't see. I mean, that would be scary, you know, being in a chair, being pushed with the roar of the ocean. And, you know, we explain it to her verbally and all that. And, you know, we haven't really forced her to do a lot. We don't force her. But we're also getting to the point where we realize we can't just sit around the house all the time. There's 4 other people in this family. She's the bravest kid I've ever known, her and her sister for sure. So we're just trying to figure out the right balance to encourage her to explore new surroundings and all of that. So that's what we're doing. So they're down the beach there and I'm just taking this minute to kind of talk with you about that. So we're just trying to encourage her and see. We want her to be comfortable. So maybe the beach will be the first environment we'll try to conquer. Get her comfortable with the smells, the sounds, the feelings, since she doesn't really have that sight piece anymore. We're hoping that'll come back someday. I'm not sure if that's a very realistic expectation or not, but you know, hoping never hurt anybody, so there we go. See, now after being out for about 15 or 20 minutes, Clara has calmed down to some degree, transitioning into the new environments. I had been giving maximum effort for 5 years, and still the health problems had grown worse and worse, with no answers within reach. I had an iron fist of resolve and determination, but that little iron fist was growing rusty in the salty sea air. During this time, my spirit was at war inside of me. I was pushing myself to my limits and beyond, pleading for the healing I'd been begging God for the past 4 years, but wondering why it was never received. Wondering how long the suffering would go on, and feeling opposed to suffering, but at the same time feeling my spirit being drawn deeper and deeper into the suffering. This was the season where I began to realize that my maximum effort was still futile, and very slowly my fist that had been clenched around all the details that I could control and arrange and position just so began to loosen, ever so slightly. And as I loosened my grip on control, the natural counterpart to this was to engage more fully with suffering. And as I unclenched that fist of fear, little rays of light were let in, and I began to see that when I engaged with the suffering, there was a light in it. Inside the darkness, there was a light. During this time of intense struggle and battle for Clara's life, we had a friend who wanted to do a 24-hour prayer and fasting for Clara. And it was a beautiful effort that she underwent to organize all of this for our family and for the girls. And she made a special group on Facebook and promoted it. People in her circle and people in our circle, they, signed up to pray for a specific time during this 24 hours of prayer and fasting. And it was such a blessing to us and to our family. And we fasted for that 24 hours, and we were involved in listening to the live prayers during that day and during that time. And people just came on and prayed for us, and it was just so encouraging and enriching, and it blessed my heart. The other side to that is, we had been pleading and praying for so long for our girls and our girls' health. And to me, that was kind of like the last straw of me begging and pleading to God for their healing. I thought, this is a big concerted effort, and we're going to do this, and we're going to ask God. But after this, if he doesn't heal them, I'm going to stop begging. And maybe that sounds like I was giving up. I wasn't. Maybe it sounds wrong, but I was just in some ways tired and not skeptical, but I think my heart was beginning. I wasn't accepting it like graciously. I think I was a little bit PO'd about the whole thing, honestly. Like, okay, like, we love you, we're your people. Like, we've tried all this stuff, we've begged you, we've prayed, all these people are asking you, just heal them, just like boom. Like, heal them like you did in the Bible when you just touched someone and they were instantly and unmistakably healed. A glorious healing. And that's what I wanted, and we never got that. I know a lot of people pray for that and don't. So I was wholeheartedly invested in that. And then after that, I kind of moved more into this territory of acceptance, I guess you would say, where I thought, I've asked God for this. He knows I want this. He knows I want my girls to be healed and whole and better. I want this suffering to end. I want to be able to have fun again. But I stopped asking him for it all the time. I would pray it in my heart, like whenever I prayed for them, Lord, heal the girls. But it was just this simple. It wasn't this outpouring. It was just simply, you have the power to do it. You're going to do it, or you're not. You haven't yet, and you may not ever. And I'm okay with that, I guess. I'm not gonna stop asking. I'm not gonna I don't know how to explain it. I don't want it to sound like I decided that God just had given up on us, or that I had given up on God, because neither one of those are what happened. But there was a shift. Up until this point, I had been just holding on so tightly, and it was more than I could hold on to. And so I had to start letting go. I had to be willing to engage the suffering while still holding on to the good things and the beautiful things, because it appeared that suffering was going to be a part of my life, of my daily struggle, not a one-time event, not a story with a miraculous ending, but a story of long, slow process. And that's where the real transformation began. And that's where the real praise began, where the suffering began. And somehow a song still rose up. And that's where the more authentic prayer began. The prayer that said, okay, your will be done. I'm going to stop throwing temper tantrums over not getting my way. I'm going to stop trying to coerce you. Because who can coerce God? It's a silly game. But I just stepped into a space
that was full of him and full of his suffering and full of his magnificent power and love. There's happier times coming, and then some more sad ones. But such is life. None of us are exempt from it, you know.
All right, can we see your smile now? Are you happy it's over?
Yeah.
Let me see the smile again. There, now she's happy that it's over. Did you like it?
Have towels?
Some. Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's go, little baby.
Daddy's got you, girl.
Little.
Jesus is intimate with our specific sufferings. He didn't just die for sin in general. It wasn't a light load, but when he was on the cross, all of the sin of the weight of the world was on his shoulders, and the consequences of those sins. And the consequence of sin is death. The consequence of thousands of years of people disobeying God and his laws, in generational sins and curses, is physical frailty, illness in our foods, in our societies, in our genetics, poisons being circulated through our environments that we aren't in control of. And so he entered into this mass of suffering and all of the consequences that are tied up in it. All of that he felt, all of our pain and sickness and fear, and he demolished it. He unraveled it. He traveled through it. So when you enter into suffering and you're a child of God, the place you're entering isn't filled with darkness. It's filled with sorrow. Jesus was a man of sorrow, but the counterpart to that sorrow is comfort and light and peace. My prayers for a physical earthly healing were not answered with a yes. But there were other prayers I prayed, but the Spirit prayed for me. And the answers to those prayers, well, are in the will of God, because it's his Spirit praying them through us. And I'm seeing the answers to those prayers, even though I don't know what they are. But I have to conclude that they were prayers for peace, for boldness, for beauty, for hope and faith. And so I would run to the sea because his love, like the tide, never stopped returning to me. And I brought my children to the sea because it was big and free. One night, Aaron and I came out to the ocean, just the two of us, and it was around sunset time. And I wanted to film the waves, and I wanted to film me in them. And I wanted to write "Making Days in the Sand." And I knew there were a lot of reasons I wouldn't be able to tell that story then or for a while. But I let the idea of it grow in my heart. And this night that we came out was before Clara had gone into the hospital and before things had fallen off of the edge. But my light had not been extinguished yet. But oh, it would be extinguished. It would be. Because all of our own lights have to be extinguished in order for us to see that there's an unextinguishable light abiding in us. My own light would never have survived in the shadow of death. It's his light that started replacing mine.
Brighter days are on their way. Forever's how long they'll stay. Brighter days are on